and we need effective oversight, regulations, that these things are controlled, because right now there is no effective oversight. Regulations are not being followed. We don't know what's going on in these labs, and everything is surrounded by secrecy, and this is the problem that we've got to try to remedy.
Let's go to Oberlin, Ohio, where Max is waiting for us. Go ahead, Max.
Hi, thanks, George.
Sure.
So it's fairly clear that the U.S. government is very open to exposing the population of the United States to chemical warfare. One can only imagine what kind of things they've done outside of our borders, especially in tandem with governments whose stated interests might be actually against the kind of democratic ideals of the United States government. I was wondering if you guys would mind getting into that for a little bit.
Well, it's a great question, Max, and absolutely, certainly the example of what took place in my home continent of Africa, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Project Coast, and we have evidence that the West colluded with the apartheid state secret germ warfare program and perhaps creating an ethnic weapon. These are very troubling questions, and a lot of experts that we spoke to believe that South Africa, which at the time, at the height of apartheid, was a pariah state. There were sanctions, international sanctions against doing business with South Africa, but it was a convenient place for them to do things that they could not do here, which were prohibited as part of the international treaties, the Biological Weapons Convention, that outlaws this kind of testing. But they could get away with it in a place like Africa, especially South Africa at the time was not a signatory to the treaty, and so this was a convenient place to do offshore testing. And there are a lot of fears that this kind of covert secret testing may be going on today in other places in the world.
Max, thanks for your call. Gene in Napa, California. Hi, Gene.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Sure.
About 20 years ago, I was part of a group of local people who challenged the university expansion. And in our research in the challenge, we found that university officials, faculty, held positions in doing research for the Naval Germ Warfare Station laboratory. One of the things that we found that they were working with was Creutzfeldt-Jakobs. Did you come across in your research anything that indicated that the Alzheimer's explosion might have been due to a release of that kind?
We didn't come across that in our researches. We were mostly focusing on anthrax. There's so many germs and things to focus on that pose a threat. It's just something we didn't look at, but bears further scrutiny.
Yeah, but certainly one thing that is very true is that more and more of this research is taking place in university labs, and people don't know what kind of research and the sort of reporting and oversight about what kind of that research is going on. But it's not surprising to hear that university labs are doing classified military research, because this is what's happening on a massive scale. A lot of these contracts are going on to private corporations, to university labs, and that's where a lot of this secret research is taking place.
Who would be more apt to use a biological germ warfare, a rogue nation or a small terrorist group?
Well, I think definitely a small terrorist group. I mean, the germ weapons are so potent, and you really don't need a whole bunch of material, and it has a relatively simple delivery system. It really has been called, the poor man's atom bomb.
Just as devastating, I guess, in the long run, isn't it?
Yeah. And if you're talking about battlefield use of the weapons, that's never been done. It was done in a guerrilla situation where the stuff was used perhaps against villages in Rhodesia, Zimbabwe. But in terms of soldiers on both sides lobbing bioweapons at each other while they're in battlefield hazmat suits, is a little far-fetched, but they are developing those battlefield hazmat suits. So they're already going to be able to outfit the troops, and they also are giving them the vaccines, so they can outfit them. And we know they're working on detectors. So all this stuff would be useful on the battlefield, no doubt. And that's probably some of what they're wargaming over at a place like Dugway in Utah.
Let's go to a final caller or two. Glendale, California. Go ahead, Greg.
Hi, George. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Last October, I caught a heart virus that put me in Cedars-Sinai, and I'm still recovering from, and it literally within 48 hours ate the muscle of my heart. They believe I got it from contaminated pork, which is really bizarre. I don't know if your guest knows that anything's kind of been going around. I know it's kind of a rare deal, and even how they're treating me, I kind of question. It's kind of like they're kind of winging it,
Like they don't know. Yeah.
Right. Well,
yeah.
Certainly, I never came across anything like this. But again, there's so many unexplained viruses, unexplained medical conditions, and a lot of these things can be traced back to germ warfare, possibly. There's something called mycoplasmas, these microorganisms that can be devastating to the human system, and we know have been used as agents. But it all comes down to educating ourselves. I think we have to organize, we have to educate ourselves, and a good place to start is on our website, anthraxwar.com. We have a Get Involved page. We link to the Sunshine Project. There's a wonderful map there that the Sunshine Project put together that shows labs across the country, secret labs, government labs, university labs. And these are things that the communities should really organize, and this needs to be updated. People have to find out what's going on in their community, what's going on in the university down the block from you. This is the only way that we're going to be able to find out more, get better transparency, accountability, and oversight. It's very, very dangerous and, until now, secretive world.
Thank you, both of you, for providing us really some provocative information. Dead silence, fear, and terror on the anthrax trail, and it's even a bigger story than that with our special guests, Eric Nadler and Bob Cohen. Thanks again. For Dan Galanti, Tom Danheiser, Lisa Lyon, Lex Lonehood, Sean Ladouceur, Ross Mitchell, George Knapp, Ian Punnett, and Art Bell, I'm George Norrie. Somewhere out there on Coast to Coast AM, we'll see you on our next edition. Until then, be safe, everyone.